Good morning, everyone that's joined us. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to listen to me and the lovely Sue have a chat about how crucial recognition can be in the really tough times that we're facing at the moment. Just a small introduction from me. My name is Abbie Russell and I'm the Customer Success Manager for One Hub Recognition here at Benefex. And my job is to make sure that our customers have a really successful onboarding experience and implementation plan, and then to look after them and keep them in the loop for anything that we might be releasing or updating on the system throughout. And with us we have Sue. Sue, did you want to give us a little introduction?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Abbie. I'm Sue Fenton, so I'm the HR Operations Manager at the Motor Insurers Bureau. I've been with them just over a year now. It was April last year I joined. And my role is very much around improving systems and processes within the organisation. Do you want me to explain a little bit what MIB is?
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, So Motor Insurance Bureau, we're known as MIB, not the Men in Black.
That's what we call it at work when we mention you in project meetings.
Start singing. When I got offered the job, my friend, every time I sort of met her, she started singing the song. I won't now. So Motor Insurance Bureau, so anyone who's got car insurance, a small proportion of your premium comes to my organisation, and we work with other motor insurance companies if you get hit by an uninsured driver or hit and run. So the claims come through to us, so it could be something minor, or unfortunately occasionally it could be something quite major, but we deal with the claims. We also have a motor insurance fraud bureau that looking a lot into the things like crash for cash schemes. There's been some fraud recently. They've targeted nurses and stuff like that in the current climate. So we're working
it's horrible.
I know, with the police to stop mainly car fraud. So a really interesting organisation to work for.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a lot there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right, so delving into the recognition world. So we've got a few questions. I know we've talked about a lot of these before, but just to drive the conversation into the beginning, what were your objectives for recognition when you first were looking for a recognition platform?
So really it's all been about our people and culture. Up until a few years ago, MIB's culture was very bureaucratic. There was no autonomy, very much stuck in their ways. There was a system and a process for absolutely everything, and you had to follow that system and process. And I think it was recognised that for MIB to succeed, there had to be a lot of changes. So a new CEO was brought in, must be about 2 years ago now, and he completely changed his exec team, including the Chief People Officer.
Okay.
The Chief People Officer, he's an amazing guy, Jordan Barry, and he's introduced a 3-year transition program called People and Culture, and we're about 2 years into that now, I think. And it's all about changing the culture of the organisation, very much people taking responsibility for their actions. They are empowered to do what they want, and very much now around making sure our managers are really good people managers. And in the last 6 months, I think we've really started to see a difference on that. Managers are now managing, whereas in the past they felt they couldn't manage. The whole HR team's changed. And
so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know you said you've only been there for a year so far, but do you think you can tell a difference since the 3-year plan started going, and that there is a culture shift?
Definitely. When I first joined, you could really see the people. Some people have been with us like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And a year ago, they were still working to the old ways. Whereas now you can see with more and more new people coming in, the older people are being brought along, and they can actually see why we needed to change, and they're actually sort of changing as well.
That must be quite a difficult thing, especially with people that have been there for such a long time, to get that shift when they've been so used to having those specific routines the entire time.
Very
That's
much
probably
so.
quite a difficult challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think initially our Chief People Officer was a bit frustrated in a way, like, why isn't everyone coming along straight away? But it was exactly that. They'd worked a certain way for so long and had certain things drummed into them.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah, and around trust and things like that. Yeah, it takes a long while. But yeah, we're definitely starting to see it now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And do you think that those objectives will change, or do you think they'll stay a really strong focus? Because I know you've got, is it the employee empowerment element to it as well, that you make your own decisions, you act responsibly if you've got something and you just own up to it. So you've got that direction.
Definitely. Literally, not last week, the week before, we launched our new principles. So they're values, but we decided actually they're more than values, so we called them principles.
Okay.
And they have gone down really, really well. It's all about customer first, think big, and inspire. There are 3 pillars.
Okay.
I know them already. That's really good.
I was going to say, you've definitely just got top marks from Jordan is like clapping at you right now.
He is. He's behind me. And it is that whole changing ethos. Before we had values, but there was like pages and pages explaining each one. So no one could remember them. I think there was about 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's quite difficult, isn't it, if they're too diluted for people to like engage with them properly.
Yeah, so it is all around our EVP, employee value proposition. And that's going to be a big thing moving forward over the coming years, to be quite honest. You know, as the world changes, MIB's got to change. And
yeah, absolutely. Got to run with the times.
Especially at the moment.
Yeah, a difficult one at the moment, isn't it? Something that nobody foresaw coming, unfortunately. Not something you could have put into your plan.
No, exactly not. Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions for me or Sue throughout the webinar, if you just click the questions, we'll go through them as and when we go. We've just got a few more as well. So I know when we first started implementing Spotlight, which is, for everybody that doesn't know, that's what MIB call their recognition site. At the beginning when we did this, it was pre-COVID, so we were ready and raring to go, weren't we, for the beginning of March, like set up, everything was ready. And then I think actually the week nearly that we went into lockdown, it was a couple of weeks before, wasn't it? Yeah, we were going to do the town hall and we didn't manage to because we couldn't put everybody in the same room.
Yeah, that's right, exactly right.
So it got pushed back a bit. And then we decided to launch right after lockdown was commenced, didn't we? I think it was a week or 2 before. But there was a reason for that, wasn't there?
Yeah, so as you say, we had planned to launch early March, and we had, I think it was twice a year, we had these big town halls where all staff got together in one massive room. It was about just under 500 employees, and the plan was for me to stand up on stage in front of 500 people to launch Spotlight. And literally the day before the town hall, it was pulled, and it was because of the whole sort of social distancing was just starting to come in. So yeah, we had to pull it. So do you want me to go into why we then decided to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had the shutdown, and we have now weekly town halls where, to start with, it was the chief CEO and HR, etc., just sort of giving updates on where we are. But during these town halls, we recognised a lot of people were being shouted out for great work. Yeah. And suddenly a bit of a spotlight, light bulb moment. It's like, well, surely the ideal platform then is to launch Spotlight. Some teams, like our IT department, in the past, they were thought of as very much sort of like very slow, unresponsive, usual, have you tried turning it on and off again sort of thing.
That's their thing, you can't take that away from them.
It is, yeah. Apologies if there's any IT people. But then all of a sudden, everyone's told to work from home. Some of us had laptops, but we'd never worked from home before. Some people didn't even have kits. And the IT guys were just amazing, absolutely amazing. We had about 65% of people who could fairly quickly work from home, but they had technology issues. But then within, I think it was 3 weeks, the whole of the organisation had kit that was working, and everyone was working from home. And it was due to the IT guys. They were going into the office, they'd sourced laptops. Yeah.
They found laptops when there weren't laptops to be found as well. So they definitely deserve a shout out for that.
Yeah, and it was them initially that were really being shouted out for all the right reasons, because everyone's like, yeah, our IT department is amazing. And so we thought, Spotlight is needed more than ever at the moment, because people weren't in the office. We weren't sort of physically saying thank you to people. It was actually, this is the great tool that we need to work.
I think it's a really strong message, especially when you've got the people asking you to like give shout outs and say thank you to these people at these weekly town halls. To have the platform for that just given to you so that they don't have to wait for someone to do that, and it can come from them, so it's more personable. I think that's really important at the moment, especially when I think naturally at the moment you've got a little bit of disconnect between teams just because there's not that social interaction constantly.
That's it,
and you have to make a more proactive effort to keep in touch with the teams, which I think sometimes is really difficult to do when you're just sat in your back room like I am, and I can just plod along on something and I'm maybe not as connected to my team as I would be because I'm not sat opposite them, so I can't just fling them a question really quickly.
So
I think it was a really
bump into the person exactly the coffee machine. While I see you, thanks for doing that or whatever.
Exactly. It's just the things you almost take for granted, don't you, because they're just their normal social norms. They are there for you.
Exactly.
They're leading on to the next one. So I know that we've been live for I think 3 or 4 months now. I think we're hitting 4 now. So what have you seen as successes since you launched?
It is definitely the increased engagement across the workforce, really what you're talking about. It might have been quite difficult for some people to give a shout out to somebody, that little thanks. But following us going live with Spotlight, we get a lot of comments. As soon as the recognition goes up, other people put comments on it and they put reactions on it. So that real sense of engagement, and using the GIFs as well. There's been some great ones that have gone up. People are loving the GIFs, I think.
The GIFs are really good, aren't they? I always get a little bit disappointed if someone gives a recognition and they don't put a picture on it. I'm like, please put a little moving GIF on it.
I think virtually everyone puts GIFs on in our organisation. There's been very, very few without GIFs, and they're great.
It just brings a little bit more fun to it, doesn't it?
It does, and it does get talked about sort of in other meetings and things like that. When people have put sort of recognition up or GIFs up. And the launch, I think, really helped. We did a little bit of a launch campaign to get people interested. But it is also the powerful messages, especially if one of our sort of exec team, leadership team, puts up a recognition for somebody. That is a really powerful message across the organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually something that there's loads of recognition research too. So there's loads to say that if you get a recognition from someone, for example, in the exec team or someone above your manager, that it has a longer lasting effect than it would if it came from someone in your team, for example, one of your peers. Just because it's probably not as regular, so it lands a lot better. I know when the CEO first I got a recognition from our CEO, I was so excited. It was really dorky, but I was really excited. But it did definitely land really nicely.
And
you don't expect it necessarily. It's quite nice.
Yeah, definitely. For our senior team as well, a few years ago, it would have been unheard of really for them to do something like that. And so for them to start sort of like, say, recognising people across different teams, not necessarily people in their own teams, so it's just that powerful message.
Like power of thank you is massive, isn't it? It's so important. And then you have so much more that rolls on from that. You almost cause a domino effect. So like you have that recognition, and then I think it gives you that little bit of a boost to do just that little bit more work or a little bit stronger work because you've got that motivation for it, and I think it increases your productivity so well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if somebody is recognised, then we were noticing that they would then recognise somebody else. So it is that sort of domino effect as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? That's such a good way of doing it. Yeah. And even if you don't have people that recognise anybody else, I think quite a lot of the time you'll find that customers will log in, see that they've got a recognition, and then they'll start interacting with the other ones that they can see because they're there for them to see, and they maybe just haven't noticed it before because they hadn't logged in.
Exactly,
that's where the reactions are great, because then you can celebrate and praise and love and like the recognitions. And I think those are really interesting as well, and they're so much more fun than just having the ability to like. You can have that little extra layer to it.
Yeah, that's it. I think the system Yeah, it could easily just have been you've put one recognition up and that's it. But the fact you've got those extra sort of tools to comment or like or love and all of those sort of things, I think is really, really good.
Brilliant. And these are just a few things that I picked out whilst I went on my daily stalk of your Spotlight page. So something that we noticed actually straight from the beginning is, I know we helped and we provided a launch campaign for you for the first week of your launch to help support that. And a lot of that was aimed around the reasons why recognition is so important. Some of them aimed for managers and just specifically for them to know the importance of recognition as well. But one thing that was really interesting with your launch is that your engagement was so strong, like within a week, and it was something that we'd seen other customers get to, but had taken them quite a substantial time longer than it took you guys. So I think we had a couple that took a couple of months to build that momentum to get to that point, and you guys were there within a couple of weeks, I think. And it was absolutely amazing. And I think that can only be because of the disconnect and the need for the engagement at that time.
I think that's it. It's all coming back to what I said earlier, sort of like, obviously no one was sort of, lock down everything on anyone, but actually it was exactly the right time to do it. If we'd have held off till, I don't know, September, October, when we might be back in the office, it wouldn't have been half as powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely the perfect time. If anything, where you don't necessarily have people as well that potentially are with people at home, so they're on their own. I think having something that builds in like a little bit of social into it as well is so important at the moment, so that you have people that maybe are feeling isolated, feel like part of something, so that they're not left out.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely agree with that.
And then another one, which I know we talk about quite a lot, and it's really interesting on your platform, is that I think the majority of your recognitions are not just for one person, but they're given to a team of people or a few people within a recognition, which is so interesting. And I was trying to figure out the proportion of it, but my head couldn't do it. But I think you've probably got about way over half of your recognitions are definitely team-led, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I would say it's, well over, I don't know, 75, 80%, something like that.
Yeah, definitely up there, isn't it?
Yeah, virtually all of our recognitions are team recognitions.
And I think, especially at the moment, like we constantly bang on about how everyone's disconnected, but the teams are so important. And if you have that recognition, but within teams, it's so lovely. And I think that's probably where that's come from. Needing teams to feel like they're engaged and they've got all of that engagement within their teams as well, and they're connected and they're still on the same wavelength, and we're still a team and we're still working together.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it is recognising that, everyone is pulling together. At the moment, sometimes it's difficult to sort of just call out one person, because it is a group of people that have made something happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then this question for you: do you think that, considering how many team recognitions that you've had across your platform, do you think that it's helped and made a change within MIB since you've launched?
Definitely, yeah. And it is all around like the team recognition. It's making individual teams feel connected, but also because you've got a manager recognising a different team in a completely different part of the organisation, it's actually helping bring those teams together.
Yeah, absolutely.
MIB used to be very siloed, and it still is in certain areas. It takes a long while to break that down.
Of course.
But something as small as the recognition platform actually is really helping, to bring teams together. One team will recognise the hard work that another team's done. And even before the lockdown, it would have been more individual recognition, I think, rather than the team. So there's not a lot more connections between the teams now, and just by breaking down those tiny, those barriers sometimes by something simple, really makes that big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially at the moment when you've got people that are, especially with your well-being and like that side of it, that definitely is going to be a factor that plays in probably quite a lot of the organisations, is that people's mental well-being especially is going to be affected by this. especially because we've got such uncertain times. There's lots of anxiety levels going up when you don't really know what's going on. I think having the team recognitions is really strong, just to make sure that you've got that there. And even if you are on your own, there is a team at work that are on your side and you're doing a great job, and people are saying thank you for that, and it just lifts your spirits and keeps them really high.
Definitely, yeah. I was going to say a bit later actually, but because I manage a few people in my team, and when I get that email that one of my team has been recognised, I love that. It's just, it makes me proud that somebody in my team has done well, and to be able to use that information is so good, so powerful.
Yeah, definitely. So that's something that we purposely did when we built One Hub Recognition, was that we made sure that managers knew exactly what their team members were getting in sense of recognition. Mm-hmm. So when anybody receives a recognition through One Hub, their manager gets that email as well to let them know. So like Sue said, she gets them for her team, and it is really nice. Like, I know how I feel when I get a recognition and I get that email that comes through. I get so excited. Like, oh, who could this be? Like, I really like it. But it must be even nicer when it's a member of your team.
Yeah, that's it. Because obviously I go into Spotlight quite a lot just to sort of see what's going on and everything.
Yeah.
Because it's my project. And so other managers may not be doing it quite so much. But getting that email, first of all, it's prompting on the system. But then, and then it makes you look around to sort of see who else has been recognised as well. So, yeah, that email, again, is really powerful.
Yeah, they're the best, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
The best emails to get.
Yeah.
And then I know actually a few things I was going to mention to you is that I know there's been a really strong position for managers in your recognition campaign, isn't there? To get the managers in and to make sure that all of them are on board and giving recognition.
Yeah. Just every now and again, I do pull a report from the system to see what managers have been using it. And we do, and it does go back to the whole people and culture work we're doing, that to make sure our managers are really good people managers, and they've got the engagement of the team. So our sort of senior level meetings, exco meetings, and our senior leadership meetings, SLT, it does get reminded every now and again. Don't forget, you need to recognise your team. So that little push.
Yeah, absolutely.
And around these sort of, when we did introduce the award thing as well, the reward for using the system. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so what we did is when we got a few weeks into lockdown, we gave MIB a prize draw and encouraged people to log in that maybe hadn't just yet, just to remind them that it was there for them to use. And so every time they posted a recognition, they got an entry into this prize draw, and they could win a voucher. And that was all it was. It was a really nice, simple thing. And we just reminded them that this is what we were going to do. And it really worked, didn't it? We got many people in that hadn't logged in yet. And it was brilliant. There were so many people, and there was lots of people I noticed that were giving quite a few recognitions, but to completely different people in different teams.
Yeah, that's right. And they were all genuine. Brilliant. It wasn't as though they were just doing it just to get their reward. I knew a lot of those people, and they were genuine recognitions.
Definitely helps, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
like anything, sort of, some people use it more than others. But no, it's definitely helped. Sort of, just that reminder, and so the reminders to managers helps as well.
Yeah, definitely. So there's lots to focus on, I think, from a manager's perspective as well. Our general manager at Recognition constantly calls managers the secret sauce to recognition. It's like her favourite thing to call it. Mainly because I think there's a lot to be said for managers driving the recognition to their colleagues and their team members. Them being almost the champions of it is really strong. And then I think if you've got your managers being prepared to give recognition when maybe they've got a lot to do, when there's more on their plates potentially, I think it shines through when there is that recognition.
Definitely. Yeah,
and there's loads of stats like for recognition where managers are vital for it. So I think there's something like 79% of people leave a job and they cite that they left because they had lack of appreciation. And that's really shocking that you've left because nobody appreciated your work. That's really sad. And I've definitely left jobs for the same reason. So I'm definitely part of that statistic. So knowing that there's recognition within cultures, I think, is quite a really strong pull for people.
Definitely.
To get those thank yous, like they're a lot more powerful than I think sometimes people appreciate they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been sort of thought, hasn't it? Sort of that little thank you goes a long way, but I think
absolutely.
Then to put it on a visible platform is even more, so other people can see who's been recognised, etc. Yeah,
it's even better if someone else gets to see this thank you, isn't it? Because it's just showcasing it, and then you've gone out of your way to say, actually, you did such a nice thing for me, so I'm going to tell everybody what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that has a lot of sway and a lot of gravitas to it. There's loads there.
Sorry,
no,
I think thinking about this meeting, it's made me realise, obviously I was looking yesterday at the people who are recognising the literature, and actually the people I think of as good managers use the system well.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, the people who are good people managers use the system a lot.
It's really interesting. There's when we do a lot of implementation plans, we have a manager's training, and there's loads of information on there that suggests that having a manager be really strong and give recognition actually weighs out a lot of things that people think that people would prefer in a job. So I think it's something like 60% of people would prefer to have praise than a pay rise. Because the money is brilliant, of course, but actually having someone just say thank you and you did a really good job there, and highlighting that has such a big impact on individuals, especially at the moment as well, when you are going to have moments where it feels super lonely because you're not surrounded by people constantly. It's so nice to have that. And the tool is so easy to use. Like, you've got the app there, so even if you aren't sat at your desk and all of a sudden you think, oh, I haven't given that recognition, the app is so quick to use. I think it takes less than a minute to give someone a recognition. So you almost have no excuse not to. You can take a minute out of your day, I'm sure, even if you're super busy, you can spare 40 seconds or a minute to give a recognition.
Yeah, that's it. And actually, when we look at our sort of when people have used it sort of times, you do notice people are using it in the evening. So it could be, as you say, they've sat down in the evening just thinking about the day, and actually, I need to recognise this person, so they'll quickly do it on their phone or whatever.
And that's the thing. I know there's a lot of people that plan it in. So, for example, there's a couple of people on our sales team that have a calendar reminder on Friday. And they have it, so they're like, give a recognition, so they spend that just little 15 minutes to be like, right, who has really shone for me this week, and who can I say thank you to on that platform, and they just have that reminder in that way. I'm constantly on it, so if I think about it, I'm like, the best time for me to give a recognition is the second it happens, because I almost don't want people to lose that feeling of they've just done it instantly and then I'm going to say thank you straight away, because I want it to land as effectively as I physically can get it to be. I don't want to give thank you to someone necessarily when it's a week later, maybe they've just forgotten, and it doesn't have the same impact that I actually want it to have.
Totally agree with that.
And then to just close off, we've got one more question for you, and what is the feedback that you've had from everybody across the team since we've launched Spotlight?
Everyone loves it. Going back to what we were just saying, it's so easy to use. Just a few clicks of the button. It's so intuitive. I mean, a lot of people use Instagram, Facebook and things like that, but it's so easy to use. And actually, I got a quote from a manager that I thought was lovely.
I love these. Please give me this.
So this is a manager who uses the system quite a lot, and I just said, what do you think about Spotlight? And so she said, I think Spotlight is a great way to quickly show your appreciation and thanks to others. I know from being on the receiving end of recognition that it gives me a nice warm feeling. So if by posting on there, I'm making others feel good too, then that's fantastic.
That's really nice.
I just asked for their views of Spotlight, and that's what they came back with, word for word.
That's really nice. A little bit emotional by that. That's really nice. It's just because I'm a wet blanket. That's all it is. But that's really nice. It's nice. I should have warned you. Sorry. No, you're fine. You're fine. Like, adverts will make me go, there's nothing you can do to control it. If anybody's got any last minute questions, please send them through now. We've just had one from Will Davidson, and this one is for you, Sue. So Will has asked, what's next for the HR team at MIB? and how will Spotlight support your next initiative?
So we have already started talking about the reward side of recognition.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to think about the best time to launch that at the moment. We do have a sort of engagement recognition, scheme at the moment, but it's not well used. So as I say, we're looking at the reward side of recognition, aiming to go live maybe September time.
Okay.
So that'll be the next side. So actually managers at a senior level can instantly give monetary rewards to people through the system, which I think is clearly the next step. That'll be great.
Yeah, definitely. So for those listening that don't necessarily know what reward is, a reward is a package that you can add on to your recognition. And what this allows you to do is give financial reward along with your recognition. But it's instant. So when you receive the email to let you know that you've got your recognition or your push notification for your app, you are then able to see that you've got something, and you can click on a button and you can spend it straight away. So this is available on a global scale, but MIB are just UK based. So they will be able to go in, pick the voucher that they want. There's about 130 options or so for the UK. And then they can download that voucher, and straight away it's in their reward wallet and they can spend it straight away. So there's no need for any plastic to be sent out or any delay in that coming to you. You can spend it the second you receive it if you want to, or you can save it up for something really big and special. But I think that will be a really nice way to add the extra layer to your thank you, Sue, when you've got when we've got that all planned in. It'll be a really nice thing to be able to launch to people because everyone gets so excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'll be good. And this is going to sound like a plug for Beneflex at the moment, but literally this, literally this week we launched the other side of Beneflex, so the discount and cashbacks and the actual platform for rewards as well. Can't remember what it's called. Sorry, we call it
it's
My
called
Benefits.
MI Benefits, isn't it?
Yeah, we call it My Benefits.
My Benefits, yeah.
So we've got all of the platform where all our benefits are all in one place, which has gone down amazingly well this week. Really,
I was going to ask you that. So has that been really popular as well?
So we launched it on Monday.
On?
Yeah, we launched it on Monday. So we've got just under 500 employees, and Tuesday morning we'd had, I think it was 150 people log in.
Wow, that's really good, isn't it?
It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Really good.
And the feedback has just been so positive. Again, a really good. We delayed that as well because with gyms being shut.
Of course, because the gym is definitely one of the ones that's really popular, isn't it?
Yeah, private medical and things like that. So we did need to rethink our offering a little bit. But with things opening, we thought now was the right time to go live with that. So what with sort of Spotlight and now My Benefits, and then with rewards going live in September, it's a really, really good messaging at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sue. It's been really nice to have a little natter with you. And hopefully we'll be able to catch up again really soon. But thank you everybody for joining us. Just got a few things at the bottom. So this is just to give you an idea of what recognition looks like. And this is an example of how it looks on the web versus how it looks on the app as well. And a really important thing to note is that at the moment, to support in the really tough time that we're going through, we've actually got an offer that we've extended that we started at the beginning of lockdown. And that is that if you sign up now, we will give you 4 months recognition for free. But if you're an NHS worker or you're part of the key workers, you'll get an extra 10 months instead of the 4, so that's even better. And all you need to do is contact us and we can provide a demo for you, make sure that we've definitely got exactly what you're looking for the recognition tool, and we'll be able to provide a demo for you. So if you would like to book a demo, or you'd want any more information, or you have any questions at all, my contact details are at the bottom of this slide here for you. Even if it's just a quick question or any comments on anything, it'd be really nice to have any of you contact us. So feel free to give me a call or send me an email. But thank you all for listening. And again, Sue, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. It's been really, really good.
Thank you very much. And I hope everyone has a really nice day.